Well, actually today's amendment really isn't very important because the government has already agreed it with the rebels and it's effectively non-binding. All it commits the government to do is to report back on the progress of its talks with the EU about a customs arrangement, not even a customs union. So I think that is pretty meaningless. On the customs union, the rebels are holding their fire until another piece of legislation, the customs or the trade bill, comes back in July. And actually, that in some ways makes sense because that will be after the all-important European Council at the end of this month. And of course, what we forget is that while the Cabinet argues with itself, and then it argues with its own backbenchers, and then everybody in Parliament argues with each other, actually the real action on this is happening in Brussels because the EU has the upper hand in these negotiations. It's really the terms of what the EU is prepared to accept in terms of a customs union or customs arrangement that the UK will have to face up to in due course.
So some of the proposals on the table are still being debated by people here, maximum facilitation and a customs partnership. Do you think that the Europeans are going to be happy with either of those?
Well, I think the customs partnership appears to have largely lost momentum. Theresa May may still in principle be backing it, but it doesn't really see that many other people are. Maximum facilitation is really just a term for saying, well, whatever border we have, we'll make the best use of technology, and that's all perfectly sensible. The point for the EU 27 is, and in particular the point for Ireland is that as far as they're concerned, that does not, in the foreseeable future, deliver the UK government's very clear commitment, reaffirmed by Parliament yesterday, that there will be no new infrastructure on the Irish border, no new infrastructure at all. So the response of the EU 27 to maximum facilitation is to say, well, of course, technology is great, by all means, but in the meantime, we want you to meet the commitment that you already made in writing in December and sign up to an arrangement for Northern Ireland that ensures there is no hard border.
Theresa May has insisted that her proposals are temporary, and you talk about the future and an indefinite period of time. I mean, do you think it's possible that some of the proposals she's put forward for customs relationships for the border with Northern Ireland and Ireland could end up being slightly more long-term than she's perhaps insisting now?
I think that's very likely. If you look at what was in the UK government's proposal, that we should remain effectively within the customs territory of the EU, it seems to me that once you've signed up to that, and that you've given the EU effectively a veto on when we can leave it, when they're satisfied that there will be no Irish border as a consequence of that. Once you've signed up to that, the incentive on either side to spend huge amounts of money to produce a border that will only be more of a barrier to trade than the existing arrangements is pretty small. Business won't want it, business here won't want it, business in the EU 27 won't want it, the EU 27 won't want it, Ireland won't want it. It's not clear why, once we're in this arrangement, we would ever leave it.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.